If you didn't get a chance to watch my last video, my name is Devin, and I'm starting a channel on lifestyle. It's going to be about nutrition and health and green beauty and natural living, mommy things, decorating things, just a little bit of everything. And I wanted to do a video today about healthy toddler snack alternatives. Now, I have a 3-year-old son, and I'm also 30 weeks pregnant with my little girl. So I'm always looking for healthier alternatives to snacks that toddlers usually like. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not a nutritionist. These are things that just work for me and my family. And also, as a point, my son goes through picky phases just like any other kid. So sometimes he loves these things, sometimes he's not a huge fan. He goes back and forth. But these are all things that have worked for me in the past that I just wanted to share with you guys. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was Jello. Now, most of the conventional Jello that we can buy at the store, we know it has tons of sugar and artificial ingredients and colors and flavors, and I was looking for something a little bit healthier that he would like and was actually good for him. And I came across this video on YouTube by Mama Natural, Genevieve. I love her channel, always recommend it. I'll try to link it below if I can. And she had a whole video about the health benefits of gelatin. So I had bought this brand, Vital Proteins. I've had other brands in the past. This one is grass-fed, pasture-raised beef gelatin, unflavored. So what I do with this is I use this in conjunction with either a fresh squeezed juice, you can do, of course, which is the healthiest option, or buy a pre-made juice at the store that is not from concentrate and doesn't have any other ingredients in it, no added sugar or things like that. I usually buy it at the store just because I'm usually in a rush and don't have time to make fresh squeezed juice, but that's obviously the best option if you can. And I also use it with raw honey. So what I do is I take 2 cups of my juice of choice and I put it in the saucepan and kind of bring it to like a medium heat, and then I add 2 tablespoons of this gelatin. And then you keep stirring it. You let it simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes, just watching it, warming it up, making sure that all of the gelatin is completely dissolved into the liquid. So then you move it into a different container. Usually I put it into like a glass measuring cup of some kind because I'm going to have to pour it into these molds, which I have because I was looking for something to make it more enjoyable for kids. So Genevieve had these little jelly men molds that were awesome. And I bought these also dinosaur shaped molds. Something about shapes for kids make a huge difference on how things taste apparently. But when it's still on the saucepan, I forgot to mention, you want to add some honey to it. I use raw honey, or you can use stevia. You want it to almost be too sweet because once it jellifies or solidifies, I don't know the proper terminology, the taste kind of milds out. So when you taste it on the stove, make sure it's almost a little bit too sweet because then it'll probably be perfect once it's solidified. So then I put it in the freezer for about 10 minutes, or you can put it in the fridge for longer. I'm usually in a rush, so I'll put it in the freezer, and then I just store them in little bags in my fridge and then give them to my son as he wants. I usually also spray the mold with coconut oil a little bit before I put it into the freezer, just because it makes it easier to take it out. And I also keep them on a tray before I pour because these things are loosey-goosey, so it makes it more difficult. So if you put them on a tray before you pour the gelatin in it, it just makes it so much easier. And the gelatin actually has tons of health benefits. Now, I actually wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. And it talks about how it's anti-inflammatory amino acids, it's good for digestion, it helps hair, nails, and skin, it promotes restful sleep, it promotes memory and learning, and aids in all different kind of health property benefits. So there was way more than this, but these are just the couple that I saw that I found very interesting. And then I don't feel bad about giving it to my son. It's something that he likes. I even take it. It improves the elasticity of your skin. So during pregnancy, it's great. Anything that can improve elasticity and help me stretch out, not get stretch marks, I'll be happy about. And they taste yummy. So that's the good first option. Now the second thing I was thinking about was applesauce. Now, of course they come in these little pouches. Right now I have the Mott's Organic Applesauce. I got these at BJ's. And my son's loving these right now. And these are always good on the fly. But for a long time I was making homemade applesauce, and he goes through phases. Sometimes he likes it, sometimes he doesn't. And I would put them in these little squeezy snacker silicone containers, and I open and then just they can squeeze it into their mouth, just like a regular kind of squeezy pouch. These are a little bit more difficult, but I loved these, and he used them very easily. So with making my own applesauce, I would use about 3 pounds of apples. I actually did it in a crock pot because that was easiest for me. And then you add about a 1/4 cup of water, 2 tablespoons lemon juice, cinnamon to taste, and just a pinch of salt. And obviously they're cut up and sliced. I usually leave the peel on it, but you can obviously peel them, but you need to wash the apples beforehand. And then I cook them in the crock pot for about either 2 to 3 hours on high or 4 to 5 hours on low. And then just store it in a container in the fridge, and then as he needs or as he wants, I put it in his little squeezy pouch. So that's a really good option, healthier option. Something else that I do with apples is I take an apple and I cut them up into small pieces. I leave the skin on, and I toss it with a little bit of honey and a little bit of cinnamon, and I pop it in the microwave for about 1.5 minutes. And it gets kind of gooey and tastes like the filling of like an apple pie, and my son loves that. And of course, none of this is in replacement for just the good old banana or apple slices, grapes. My son loves that too. These are just other kind of ideas to keep it interesting. Something else that my son loves are French fries. So, what kid doesn't love French fries? But I'm not a big fan of stopping by fast food joints all the time to get him French fries and ketchup. So, what I do is I buy regular organic russet potatoes. I got these at my local health food store. And I cut them into circle shapes, and then I cut the circles into slices, so it makes it almost like a regular French fry shape. And then I toss them on a pan with coconut oil. Now this is the organic extra virgin extra virgin coconut oil. This one's unrefined and cold pressed. I always look for that. And I got this at BJ's, and it was a really good price for an organic coconut oil. I either use this or I use ghee, which is a clarified butter. Both of these are really good for high heat cooking scenarios. I do have to pop them in the microwave for a couple seconds to kind of melt them a little bit because they come both solid. Just because you can use olive oil, but it's not recommended for high heat. It's actually recommended for either very low or no heat at all. So I use those two, and then I toss it with some Himalayan sea salts and a little bit of pepper, and I put it in the oven on 400 on bake. And I usually watch it. It probably takes around 15 minutes. But maybe a little bit longer. I watch it until it's a little bit brown on the top, and then I serve it to him with some organic ketchup, and he loves that. I'm actually going to try making my own ketchup soon, and I'll let you know how that goes. I've actually seen some recipes for fermented ketchup with really good probiotics, and I want to try that, but I haven't gotten around to it yet, so I'll let you know how that goes. Another thing that I found on Amazon were these, they're called Be Silly silicone sleeves. They're from Peak Life Gadgets. And these are awesome. You can use any kind of juice that you want. You can add anything to it that you want. And you just put them in the, not the microwave. Don't put these in the microwave. You put them in the freezer, and then they're like a little ice pop, a little healthy version of an ice pop. Now my son was actually not a huge fan of these. I ended up using them probably more than him, but he was probably a little bit too young for them when I first tried them, so I'm going to try these again. So we'll see how that goes. The last thing I wanted to mention was these Manuka Honey Lemon and Honey Lollipops. Everyday Wellness Throat Soothing lollipops with natural fruit flavor. So I found these on Vitacost, and I actually found these when my son was sick and I was looking for something for soothing his throat. He was not a fan of honey. Some kids will take honey easily, and he really won't. And you hear mixed things about cough syrups, even just the homeopathic ones. I didn't notice a huge difference, like it helping with my son. So I was on the hunt for something, and I knew he liked lollipops. So I found these, and the ingredients are awesome. It's organic brown rice syrup, evaporated cane juice, Manuka honey, natural honey, propolis, I probably said that wrong, organic menthol, organic natural honey flavor, and organic natural lemon oil. And he loves these. He requests them, actually. And when he's sick, I actually noticed a difference in his throat. I much rather him be taking this, obviously, than the conventional lollipop, because it has multi-purpose, too. It's also good for him during his cold season when in preschool. And it's also just filled with good ingredients. My husband loves these, too. I like them. So this is a really good find, and I will be purchasing them again. So that is all of my healthy snack alternatives today. If you guys have any other snacks that work for you and your toddler or your kids, especially if they're picky eaters, please let me know because then I can try them. And if you have any ideas for any future videos, let me know in the comments and subscribe.